Hey there, lovely souls. Welcome back to the Holistic Healing with Lorrie podcast, where we explore all the different ways to heal from chronic illness, especially long COVID and ME/CFS. And today we're deep diving into the wisdom of the body in how it heals and the order that it does it in. I'm Lorrie Rivers. I'm your holistic healing coach, and I can't wait to share this eye-opening journey with you. Now, this particular episode was inspired by one of my amazing relief and transformation recovering from long COVID and ME/CFS students. She's actually had ME/CFS for 25 plus years and has endured a lot of pain for that whole time, in addition to all of the crazy things that come along with ME/CFS, like the bone-crushing fatigue, the brain fog, the post-exertional malaise, and some other things that she specifically experiences. So she's seen these wonderful shifts in her pain and inflammation levels, and also in her emotional health as well. Everybody in the course has just commented about how there was one particular class when she started smiling, and we'd never seen her smile before. So overall, she's feeling better. But her energy levels and her overall activity levels have gone down considerably. So what the heck? Is she getting better or is she getting worse? She's feeling better overall, but energy and activity just haven't been there. So let's get into it. Our bodies are marvelously intelligent. They possess this innate wisdom that knows precisely how to heal itself. I call it our optimal blueprint that we're just born with, right? And this is from the tiniest scrape to chronic conditions like long COVID, like ME/CFS. So the big question is, what is this order of healing? And how can we understand it so we can recognize when the healing is happening and know that we are actually moving in the right direction? So let's take a closer look. The first phase of this healing process is recognition. And this is when our body identifies an injury or an imbalance or invaders, pathogens, and that triggers a series of chemical messengers that signal the immune system to take action. It's calling up arms, really, to protect. And then we have the inflammation dance. And even though it might sound counterintuitive, inflammation, when it is occurring the way that it should be occurring, is a natural response that actually helps our body to clean up and prepare where it's going to be healing. So it's like inflammation is the cleanup crew that paves the way for the next stage. Now, the thing is that in chronic illnesses like long COVID, ME/CFS, fibromyalgia, Lyme, MS, etc., the body gets stuck in the recognition phase. Remember, that's the immune system trying to locate and fight off the root cause of the illness, which is, by the way, hidden infections. And I'm going to be talking about that in just a bit here. And the body also gets stuck in the inflammation dance because it's constantly trying to heal what's happening because of what the hidden infections are causing. And because those hidden infections are continuing to proliferate. So what I've found over years and years of coaching and teaching in my relief and transformation recovering from long COVID and ME/CFS online course is that the root cause of all these chronic illnesses is a combination of parasites, fungus, candida, and other pathogens like Lyme, mold, and other things. And the thing is that these are hidden infections. So not only are there not great tests to see if you have these issues, and there are tests, but they are inaccurate so often I can't even tell you how many times I've had a new student say, hey, I've had all the stool tests and the parasite tests and the Lyme tests and all the tests, and they've all come back negative, and I don't think I have any parasites or anything else. And after a week or two of being on the relief and transformation eating plan or starting actual treatments, they send me an email. They're like, oh my gosh, I just passed a worm. or lots of worms even. So yeah, not only are there not great tests to see if you have these issues, but the symptoms are all over the place from person to person and from body system to body system. So it's really difficult to put this into the whole picture and to be able to see it clearly unless you are looking at it from this point of view of the hidden infections and these pathogens. So if a person comes to me with chronic issues, then I immediately assume that there are going to be these pathogens involved. And I've got to tell you, I have not been wrong yet. So basically, in order for the body to start to heal and to get out of this constant cycle of being in that immune phase, right, where the body is constantly on high alert with the immune system and the inflammation phase, we have to actually get rid of the parasites and the fungus and the other pathogens. And this is to bring down the number of the bad microbes. And then we start to bring up the number of the good microbes. And this is so that the body can regain its balance, because it's been out of balance for a really long time if you have a chronic illness. And as far as this order of healing, killing off those pathogens is quite a lot for the body, especially if it's already compromised. While you're treating the pathogens, a lot of energy goes into killing the pathogens and dealing with the toxins that they release as well, because those need to be flushed out of the body. And it can be quite a lot of toxins that get released as you're treating. Because of this, a lot of people feel even more tired while they're treating. It doesn't happen for everybody, but for most people it does. Certainly happened for me, and it happens for most of my students as well. Now, the good news is that as the scales begin to tip and you have fewer of the bad microbes and more of the good microbes and fewer toxins, and the body is able to actually start to move into the next phase of healing. And this is where our body actually starts rebuilding and regenerating the damaged tissues. Now, just a caveat here, this is not a linear process. You're not in either immune or inflammation or healing the tissues. Sometimes you're in several at once, and sometimes you move back. Sometimes the body moves back to a previous phase again, and then sometimes it moves forward. Just wanted you to know that, because as you probably know and have experienced, this healing process is not linear. It has dips and it has peaks and valleys, shall we say, but overall the trajectory is up when you deal with the underlying causes. Yeah, so in this phase, once that balance has shifted and the bad microbes are not as prolific, there aren't as many of them, and the good microbes start to inch up again, this is when the body starts to focus on rebuilding and healing the damage that has been caused by the pathogens and by the toxins that they have released. And guess what? We're talking about the energy, all the fatigue, that healing process of healing the tissues and all that stuff, that takes a lot of energy too. So you might still feel worn out during this part of the healing process. And something that I forgot to mention is that the reason that it happens in this order is because of that bodily wisdom, right? Because of that blueprint. So the body is attending to your survival first and foremost. So that's why the immune system kicks in first, and the inflammation is like the medical crew. So it takes care of these things and then healing the tissues before it starts to do the next stage, which is that creating more energy stage. So our body in this stage puts the finishing touches on the healing process. And this is usually when the body's now able to bring the mitochondria back online more fully and more efficiently And this is when your energy starts to come back in a much more prominent way. And that's what I want for you. So now that we know the order of healing, and again, it doesn't happen exactly this way for everybody, but for most people. But let's talk now about some practical tips to support your body's wisdom. So the first one is what I call meditations. I always start off all my students and clients with this very easy win. And these meditations are twice daily practice of lying down in a dark room with no interruptions for 30 minutes or more with your eyes closed and practicing radical rest. And this means you're not listening to podcasts, you're not looking at your phone, you're not scrolling through social media. You can certainly do something like yoga nidra or a guided meditation or listen to soothing music, or you can just take a nap if that works for you. And what I find is that this simple practice, doing it, like I said, twice a day for 30 minutes or more makes a huge difference for a ton of people. And they find that this simple practice increases their overall energy envelope, which is very helpful, as we all know. Now, the next thing, and this is the second thing that we do in the course, in the Relief and Transformation course, and this means providing your body with the best nutrients that it can get for the healing process, and at the same time, not feeding the pathogens as much as possible, right? And the pathogens use sugar. They feed off of sugar. So any type of carbohydrate that you put in your body is going to feed these pathogens. And not only that, but if you eat too much protein in one sitting, then that will actually turn into sugar in the body and feed the pathogens as well. So the Relief and Transformation eating plan, I don't like the word diet very much. So the eating plan means a lot of healthy fat, a lot of healthy animal protein, and low carb veggies. Yeah. And then, of course, rest and sleep. This is allowing your body so much good time to rest and recover. I find that especially if you're in phase 1 or phase 2 of recovering, of healing from long COVID and ME/CFS, and there's a phases quiz that I offer. So if you're in phase 1 or 2, you might need to sleep for 10 hours a day. And that's okay. That's okay, because that is when your body is healing. So you do want to make sure that you are able to regulate your sleep. And if you're not able to, I do have a couple of resources for you in that area that might be able to help you out. Of course, as we all know, you want to drink a lot of good quality water. So you want to make sure that this is filtered water. You might think about adding some deep ocean mineral drops to the water and keeping your electrolyte balance good. And then you also want to minimize stress. And stress, of course, can disrupt the body's natural healing process. It can also encourage the bad microbes and discourage the good microbes, weirdly. So you definitely want to be incorporating relaxation techniques like meditation or very simple yoga, like maybe one pose every 30 minutes or something, depending on which phase you are, or even just sitting outside in nature. And then, of course, these are all things that I mentioned that you can do on your own. And another thing that's really great is to have a structure for yourself. And what that means is waking up at the same time each day and knowing exactly what the first 2 or 3 things that you're going to be doing right after you wake up are, and doing those. Trying to get morning sun is a great idea. And going to sleep at the same time, and just having more of a structure for yourself really helps to lower stress levels when you're dealing with all of these unknowns in your body and in the world around you. And then, of course, in the Relief and Transformation course, we do get into how to treat these parasites and the fungus and the Lyme and all these other microbes. But that's more complicated, and it depends from person to person as well. So these are all other things that you can go ahead and start with. And there you have it. The body's wisdom and the order of healing are always doing the best thing for you. Our bodies know what to do. So by understanding that and knowing a little bit more about the process that's happening for us, for our bodies, when we're healing, we can support that natural healing process and move through it with these chronic illnesses with more ease and understanding. And please remember that we're not just passive spectators on our healing journey. Nobody's going to do it for us. So you are in charge of your own health and wellness. And of course, there are people out there who can help you, but you have the honor and the privilege of taking care of your own body and manning that ship. So if you enjoyed this episode, please do make sure to give it a thumbs up and to subscribe to our podcast so that you never miss any of our future empowering content. And please do share your thoughts and personal healing experiences in the comments. I always love to hear from you, and I usually get back to everybody. And really, thank you for joining me today. I'm looking forward to seeing you in the next Holistic Healing with Lorrie episode. And until next time, take excellent, loving care of yourself and keep the hope alive. Healing is not only possible, but it's probable when you take all the right steps.